Eriksson must feel like a schoolmaster alongside some of these young players around him.
Yeah, right, and he probably feels a little bit of pressure as this preseason hasn't been perfect, of course, and there's going to be competition in the center of the pitch for Manchester United. In general, you look at this United, I mean, last season perhaps overachieving a little bit. It's a high bar that Erik ten Hag set for himself and for the team as well.
There is Eriksson. Maguire. Here is Gore. Keep an eye out for young Daniel Gore. He's only 18 years of age, playing in the central midfield role. He may only be a teenager, but he knows how to handle himself. He's the young man that got into a bit of trouble last year on the training ground at Carrington when he clattered into Martial. They say no contact in the five-a-sides in the scrimmages on the training ground. He didn't read that particular rule. Heading the ball on, looking for one of the Williams brothers. Iñaki down the centre. And Nico Williams on the right-hand side, the junior of the two. Here is Gore. Sancho. Alvaro Fernandez, Spain Youth International to Sancho. Pelistri seeing plenty of the ball early on in the game. And Bissaka to Pelistri. Pelistri cuts it across the face of goal. Awkward for Eriksson. This is a blistering start from Manchester United.
It really is, and you just mentioned Facundo Pelistri, very lively, wanting responsibility, wanting the ball showing forward. That's exactly what's needed from young players that trying to break into the lineup, or into the squad, I should say.
Sancho, Eriksson, Fernandez had got a little bit early. Now he's going to check himself back. The long-haired. Well, the team sheet is a left back at the moment. He's playing as an out-and-out left winger. Maguire. And Pelistri showing a little bit of fight back on the Athletic captain, Ikan Morning. Yeah, Sunset. He's one of the standout players for Athletic Club last season. Here's a crowd pleaser. Nico Williams gets in the early cross. Maguire takes charge.
Yes, outside one of those players played against England in that final in the European Championships, under 21. Played actually very well. Reminds me a little bit of Kai Havertz, the way he moves. So technical for a tall player like him. Certainly one to watch out for as this game develops.
Well, as you'll hear, there's a loud contingent of Manchester United supporters inside the stadium today. Very keen to see their heroes with their own eyes. But also the Dublin branch of the Athletic de Bilbao Football Club as well. They have 450 pennies around the world, including, I can pronounce it correctly now, Boise, Idaho. There's a chance for Sancho. Waits for the support. It's a good run down the right-hand side, but it's just a corner kick. Sancho's been prominent in the early part of this game.
A great ball over the top, and that touch superb for Facundo Pelistri. We've talked about him. Look at Eriksson, pinpoint. Look at that first touch, the way it settles. Maybe Sancho just lets it run a little bit. Maybe didn't expect that first touch to come this way, and that allowed, obviously, Athletic Bilbao to recover just a little bit.
Take two. A corner kick routine from Eriksson, looking for the head of Maguire. And it was a big stretch for Van de Beek. Well, this is the new way Manchester United goalkeepers play, and they come way out of their area. That happened yesterday in the game against Lens. And Banana was chipped from quite a distance, but that is the gamble that the coach is willing to take. Front foot football for Manchester United. Gore. Sancho miscontrols. it's a big day for some of the youngsters on the bench as well. Tom Wooster, only 18 years of age, got the call from the coach last night, but he was making up the travelling party. He's the third choice goalkeeper. A day is never going to forget, sharing a locker room with the likes of Eriksson and Sancho, Maguire and Lindelof.
Just a little bit too aggressive. Iker Muniain, Rob, I remember the time at Manchester United were after him for a couple of transfer windows. It was a long, long time ago. Sir Alex Ferguson was here.
There goes Sonset. Sonset driving forward. Little flick from Maguire. And, well, Heaton is required to make the save. Let's put that on as nonchalant defending from the England international.
Yeah, it really was. Took it for granted. That clearance not the best right there, and you can see Williams coming in. Lindelof did take that for granted.
We'll also comment on that here in a couple of minutes when he joins us live. We're also going to pay tribute to Don Coryell today, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game. Finally gets enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, and gosh, do we wish he would have been here for that. It was posthumously, but certainly I'm sure his family is thrilled. The one thing I felt that was left out of yesterday was any reference to the Cardinals or St. Louis. And we'll do that here because we were the home of Don Coryell's Cardinals for a number of years, and we'll pay him the proper tribute. If they're not going to do it there, we'll do it here, right here on KMOX. Don Coryell and the Cardinals from the 1970s with highlights from Bob Starr. I know that's going to shake up some memories for a lot of our listeners, that's for sure. Lutz Fan and Steel of St. Louis City SC will be along with us. Scott McLaughlin, IndyCar driver. We'll hear from Stewart, Cink, and Justin Leonard on how they're excited to come to St. Louis to play in a month in the Ascension Charity Classic. So much to do. Sports on a Sunday morning. Coming to you from downtown St. Louis in our KMOX studios. Oli Marmol is next.
Hi, my name is PJ Vogt. I host the podcast Search Engine, where every week I hunt down the answers to the questions I can't get out of my head. Like, why are drug dealers poisoning their customers with fentanyl? Or, is my local sushi restaurant a part of an international scam? Or, how sad are the monkeys at the zoo? If you, like me, find this world bewildering, but also sometimes enjoy being bewildered by it, check out the show on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen.
Want to be a legendary player? It all begins at Horseshoe St. Louis Casino. Horseshoe offers all the thrills. Join the excitement on the casino floor. Tee off at the Topgolf Swing Suite. Catch the game at the Sports Bar. Or relax at the Four Seasons Spa. An unexpected oasis in the heart of downtown. In a quick walk from the ballpark. Horseshoe St. Louis, a Caesars Rewards destination. Legendary. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center.
Have you ever felt like sitting back or giving up at a family gathering because you're tired of working so hard to hear? Have you ever avoided going to an event because you know you won't be able to hear well? Then your hearing loss that you're suffering from is ruining your quality of life. We have seen it firsthand, but I promise you, if you make your hearing a priority, we will make you a priority.
Dr. Bosler, what kind of response are you getting to your new hearing aids?
People are loving these new hearing aids and telling us that they provide a smooth sound, and they're giving a noticeable reduction in that interfering background noise, which allows for them to have more clarity and understanding in those noisier settings. Make an appointment to see us today, and we can help you get your quality of life back. You have nothing to lose.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. 636-441-7470 or learn more, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Indeed, and we are joined right now by the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. Oli Marmol is with us. Always great to be with you. How are things in downtown St. Louis from your end?
Not bad. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Liked what I saw from Steven Matz yesterday, and we'll get into that and much more. But just as a whole, I spent the last week watching the Cardinals, listening to it on KMOX, went to the game on Friday, and it is different. It does feel a little bit different. The game is the same, and certainly there's a passion in your players to perform well, but it does feel a little bit different not being where you want to be in the standings. Just where is it from your side of things post-trade deadline?
Yeah, Tom, I hear you, but I can't focus on that. There's just not time or room for it. These guys are competing. Our starting nine are going hard. They're going about it no different than before. And on the pitching side, there're just going to be opportunities for guys that, quite honestly, haven't been in certain roles in the past, and some of them are stepping up, and we look forward to seeing more of it. But regarding the standings, the reality is we're going to continue to compete and keep our head down, and we'll see when this ends, where we're at.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, as yesterday, fresh in my mind, Steven Matz looks like a man on a mission. And while you could say he's in the rotation next year because he's under contract, nothing is guaranteed, and he actually is pitching like that. To me, he's pitching like someone who said, okay, I see what's ahead next year. Let me show you what I can do.
Yeah, and that's what's needed. If you look at the first half form compared to his last several outings, I mean, we're looking at a completely different guy. And a lot of it's driven by, two things. One, the mentality is different. I think the intent behind what he's doing is different. There's more conviction behind each pitch. You could just sense it while he's out there. And two, the velo's up. And that's a big deal because he can use that fastball at the top of the zone. He can use it at the bottom. And when he's sticking that pitch at the bottom of the zone, it's hard to lay off of his changeup that he throws right off of it. So we're seeing him in a very, very good stretch at the moment.
Yeah, he looks great. He really does. 6 innings yesterday for Matz. He throws enough to get the Cardinals in a great position. They provided him some runs, and the Cardinals won the game 6-2. Also in this rotation is Miles Michaelis for next year. He is under contract. Before we get to the rest of it, what do you think of Michaelis? What do you expect to see out of him as we run down the stretch? I know he's serving his suspension right now, but eventually you'll get him back in there.
Yeah, he'll be back in there, and he'll throw first game in Tampa. And what we expect out of him is what we always expect out of Miles. This is a guy that has pitch ability, can throw all his pitches for strikes. He's not going to get a ton of swing and miss, a lot of balls in play. But he's going to keep guys off balance, and he's done exactly that. So there's going to be outings. Listen, when you have a guy that gets a lot of balls in play and doesn't miss bats, you're going to have certain games where a lot of it falls in for hits, and it's tough to pitch through traffic. And there's going to be certain games where a lot of those balls are right at people. And he's going to have quick innings, and he's going to be deeper in the game, and his pitch count's going to be down. But what we expect from Miles is exactly what he's been doing.
Oli, how do you see the Adam Wainwright situation? I was at the game Friday, and it's hard. I mean, we all saw him at his very, very best. He's one of the great pitchers to ever wear this uniform, and he's struggling to get outs. The baseball's an unforgiving game. It doesn't care about what you've done, does it?
It could care less what you've done. No, it's been tough. I mean, there's no skating around. That's just the reality. And Wayno will tell you it's been tough. And he's a competitor, and he's going to continue to give it his best and take his best shot. There's outings like not his most recent one, the one before that, where he did a really nice job. And the one before that, he was on a 65 pitch count, and he just went after it. He knew he didn't have a whole lot of pitches to mess around with, and he was on the attack, and he gave us 5 innings there in Arizona. So our hope is that he can repeat that. Has it looked great at times? No, the answer is absolutely not. Is he happy about it? No. Are we? No. But is he going to continue to take his best shot? Yes. And our hope is that it looks better next time out.
You still have some room to look at pitchers that, because you've traded Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery, you have some room that you can look at a Matthew Liberatore, at a Dakota Hudson, heck, at Zach Thompson today. I mean, who knows what you're going to see. But I wanted to go to Liberatore in particular. I thought Hudson was great. We've seen Hudson do great. I think a lot of people were waiting to see the progression of Matthew Liberatore. I think we saw a glimpse of that in his last start. When he rears back and lets it go, he's got it. He can, you talk about velo, he can get it up there, can he?
Yeah, there's a couple of contributors to him having success. One's going to be getting that velo back up to what we've seen it in the past. When he's mid to 96, 97, but in that range of 95 plus, he's a lot better. And then landing the curveball, that's going to be his biggest swing and miss pitch. So when he's able to steal strikes with it early and then expand late and get that swing and miss with it, that's when he's going to be at his best. So the contributors there is going to be velo and the ability to land that curveball. If you look at that outing, there's flashes of good, and we're going to continue to build on it. But I believe he had maybe one or two swing and misses the entire outing. So that's something that we're going to continue to improve upon. But yes, there's flashes of what he's capable of doing. We're going to get it more consistent every time out, and that's a big focus for us moving forward.
Boy, Zach Thompson was just all smiles during spring training. He had an ERA of 0. He was so pleased with not only landing his curveball, which is great, but his fastball can get up there too. I know what the Cardinals were trying to do. They were trying to see if they could get him to develop into a starter and stretch him out a little bit. The numbers and the performances did not work. He's back in St. Louis. He becomes a reliever, and now you've got him starting this game today. Just how do you see Zach Thompson for the future?
Yeah, it's not what just the Cardinals wanted to do. Zach wanted to do as well. I mean, he sees himself as a starter. He really wanted to have a shot as a starter. We gave him the opportunity to do that. To your point, the numbers weren't great. The walk rate against righties and lefties was super high. But I don't think it's indicative of what we'll see in the future from him. I think he'll be better than that. But I also think that it's an off-season conversation and approach where he gets the time to come into spring training as a starter, and you give him that ability to do that. Right now, the need at the moment is for him to come out of the pen. Now he'll start tonight or today for this day game, and we'll take a look at it. But again, listen, the name of the game up here is consistency. When you talk about Libby, Thompson, Hudson, you go down the list. In order to survive, it's not showing flashes of great, but it's your ability to be consistent with your skill set. And that's what we're aiming for with a lot of the young guys that are going to get an opportunity here in the next several months.
Oliver Marmol is with us, Cardinals manager, for just a little bit longer. I know we're hitting on a lot of pitching here, but I'm curious what you thought of John King. King is the one major league ready guy who comes over at the trade deadline among the 10 players that joined the organization. How's King, the lefty?
Yeah, in conversation with him, he's been great. It seems like a good fit. This is a guy that if you kind of think back to McLaughlin type of arm where he's going to be on the ground a ton. It doesn't matter righty, lefty. This guy lives on the ground, a ton of ground ball outs. He'll induce the double play, and he'll be used in those situations where we'll find a lane where we need to get out of an inning. But his first time out, I thought he did a really nice job.
The Cardinals will take on the Rockies today and go for a series win. They just released your lineup, and I was looking it over. Boy, there's still a ton of firepower in this thing. I mean, Edman's going to lead off and play short, and then you go Goldschmidt, Arenado, O'Neill, Gorman, Walker. They can all hit it and hit it a long way. Carlson's no slouch either, and Kisner behind the plate. Nootbaar is your number 9 hitter. You know, looking over everything that goes on offensively, and O'Neill's going to be the DH today. That's intriguing, the way that he's played. He looks comfortable at the plate, but I'm most intrigued by how he's planning to keep himself healthy and durable.
Communication's been good. Being able to bring him in and plan the next series ahead of time of like, here's how we're going to do it as far as being able to DH a certain amount of days, play the field, have a certain amount of days off. it's been good. And in reality, it's going to be a different schedule. He's not going to run out there 7 days in a row, 8 days in a row, 9 days in a row, like our corner guys do. It's going to look different, but in order to get a high level of production out of him and keep him healthy, that's what it's going to take. So in collaboration with him, our medical team and performance team, we'll make sure that we keep him on the field, because when he's on the field, you see what he's capable of doing. And it's an elite skill set.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oli Marmol with us. As we look at that lineup in particular, the other thing that jumps out as I run through is that Nolan Arenado is in there playing third base and batting third. Is he? How much time does he get off here down the stretch?
No, and I appreciate the question. This isn't a matter of getting him off days down the stretch, but think about the last 3 weeks. This guy went extremely hard in order to get us to potential. I mean, he wanted to win every game down the stretch and make it tough for our front office to have to make a decision. And he wanted no off days. He wanted to help us win every day. So we gave him an off day the other day. And when you do that, it's important to honor it. It's important to, when you tell him before the day starts, hey, I'm staying away from you at all costs, like take a physical day, take a mental day. That's needed, because they come back a lot stronger when you do that. And they appreciate when you stay away from them when they do have an off. And now there'll be times where he can come off the bench and take an at bat, depending on the stretch of games that we have and off days moving forward. But the other day was a great example of that with Motter ending the game. And you look at the bench and you got Nolan sitting there that you could use. But those are the situations where there's certain times during the year where a player goes extremely hard, like Nolan has, and you just honor the fact that he has both a physical and a mental day off. Because the reality is, in order for him to take that bat in the 8th or 9th inning with his routine, he's starting to get ready in the 5th. And that's no longer an off day for him. So moving forward, there'll be off days for these guys and him specifically, but he's a guy that wants to go hard and doesn't like days off. But if you look at our next couple of weeks, there's some built-in days as well.
That's a really good answer, and I appreciate that. This is Oli Marmol. One last thing for you is that I still think, and I did answer this earlier this morning when Scott Jagow, our anchor, asked me, is that there's a lot on the line for these players. I know there's a lot of pride and everything, but you constantly have to create the aura, not aura, but you have to create competition. You want players continuing to go after something. Do you see it that way as you kind of geared up for this final stretch?
Yeah, it's no different. Like, yes, we sold some pieces off in order to get a return to position ourselves for next year. But in the clubhouse, there's no like, hey, we're just going to show up today and let's figure out what next year looks like. Like, you walk in today and every single person, the staff, the players are locked in on how to win tonight's game. And then once today's over, we move on to how to win tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So it's not there's not a different feel in the clubhouse of setting ourselves up for next year or just going through the motions. Like, guys are busting their ass to win today's game, bottom line. And there's different names in different roles, and they need to step up, and they're going to get an opportunity to do a job at the highest level ever. And so we're not looking at this any different than before the trade deadline. Guys are looking to compete and win daily.
I hear that. The Cardinals have a lot of pride in that uniform. I know that's for sure. And the Cardinals taking on the Rockies today. We look forward to having it on KMOX, as we always do. Oliver Marmol's the manager of the Cardinals. Thank you for spending this time with me. I always appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Tom.
We'll visit with him once again on Wednesday morning this coming week on Total Information AM. When we come back, we're going to do two things. One, you're going to hear the call from Tom Hamilton on the Cleveland Guardians radio network. And if you didn't hear what happened between the Guardians and the White Sox last night, you are going to be in for a treat, because not only will you hear what happened, you're going to hear it through the voice of Tom Hamilton, who is one of the best to ever do it. He's the radio voice of the Cleveland Guardians. Then we're going to pay tribute to Don Coryell, who went into the Hall of Fame. And finally, I'm just thrilled about it, although sad in a lot of ways that he was not able to see it. But we will hear it KMOX style when we come back.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
The MSD Rate Commission represents the voice of the people in MSD's rate-setting process. The Commission is hosting multiple public meetings this summer to gather your input on proposed rate increases for wastewater and stormwater services. To find the meeting closest to you, please visit msdprojectclear.org/rate commission or leave a message at 314-335-2028. Check the website regularly as meetings will be added throughout the summer. msdprojectclear.org/rate commission.
KMOX at your service weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
I feel like I should call him.
Why would you call him now? Everything's working beautifully.
Jerry Kelly is St. Louis's favorite heating and cooling company. Mine too. They make me happy and comfortable every day. That deserves a phone call once in a while.
Jerry Kelly's your favorite because they're fast.
They're my favorite because they got it going on.
Nope. They're our favorite because they're good. Since they fixed it, it has stayed fixed.
I still feel like I should call.
Why don't you just visit
JerryKelly.com? The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. After an injury, you need someone you can trust to explain and carry you through. At Underlaw, we know what it's like to face tough times. We know how hard it can be to see a light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you're hurt, struggling to make ends meet, and overwhelmed by our legal system. We're not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
For garage door repairs, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who have been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 97 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you have the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. Great to have Oli Marmol with us. We appreciate him. The Cardinals manager just joined us for a segment. You can go back and listen to it. Good insight on all moves and thoughts on pitching and otherwise on KMOX.com, on our Odyssey app as well. And we will have the podcast up on our Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast page like we always do. Yesterday, the Cardinals beat the Rockies 6-2, and they play the Rockies today at 1:15. Last night, the White Sox played the Guardians. I'm not sure that anyone knows what the final score was. They do know, however, what happened. If you're just getting up, you probably have seen this video on television or you've seen it on social media. But have you heard the call from the voice of the Cleveland Guardians on the Guardians radio network? Here is the one and only Tom Hamilton.
Here it comes. A swing and a smash to first by the diving Vaughn. Down the right field line. Kicks into the corner. Ramirez on his way to second. Head first slide. Safe and in to score is Jimenez. And another hustle double. Right over the bag at first. Now Hosey and Anderson square off. They're fighting. They're swinging. Down goes Anderson. Down goes Anderson. Ramirez went in with a head-first slide. Hosey never gets upset about anything. They came up chewing. Anderson squared off. Hosey decked him. It's a 5-1 Chicago lead, but everybody from the dugouts and the bullpens congregated around second base. You never see Jose Ramirez get upset like that. And Tim Anderson was on the wrong side of that punch.
That's the one and only Tom Hamilton on the Cleveland Guardians radio network. What a call. That's the call of the year so far of the fight between Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez. Anderson actually landed a couple, but not quite what Ramirez did. He came back and absolutely delivered some thunder with the right hand and knocked Anderson back cold, and they had to help him off the field, actually. Tim Anderson is not in Chicago's starting lineup today, while Jose Ramirez is playing. Major League Baseball is likely to discipline both following a fight and a wild brawl last night. The White Sox won the game, by the way, 7-4, but not before Anderson and Ramirez threw punches at second base. The Ramirez, as Hamilton said, is a soft-spoken, tough competitor, never gets upset. He's an all-star third baseman. He knocked down Anderson with an overhand right to the chin. Both players were ejected. Both managers were ejected. The Guardians' third base coach was ejected. The Guardians' closer was ejected. And this is a melee that is still being reviewed by Major League Baseball. Several flare-ups, by the way. Took the umpiring crew 15 minutes to get him off the field. That was pretty wild and a great call by Tom Hamilton. Here are some great calls by Bob Starr. I want to take you back in time to 1975.
Wide to the left side goes Mel Gray. To the right side comes Ike Harris. Kane is tied on the left side. Backs off, set strong, left behind Hart. First down at the Dallas 49. The backs off shift to the right side now. Behind Hart, who again works to the long count and goes back to throw and sets and looks and fires. Long and deep for Mel Gray. He's there at the 10-5. Touchdown. 49-yard touchdown pass from Jim Hart to Mel Gray, who just flat out ran Mel Renfro and took it to the 5 and skipped in for the score, and the Cardinals are on the board again.
The 1975 St. Louis Cardinals, division champions 2 years after Don Coryell was brought into St. Louis to guide the franchise. The head coach, with his Air Coryell offense, had that team flying through the air with Jim Hart hitting Mel Gray right there. They also connected for a 74-yard touchdown against the Jets back in 75 that season, and on it went. He is a Hall of Famer, and enshrined yesterday posthumously, Don Coryell goes into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The speech delivered by his daughter, Mindy Coryell Lewis.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Don Coryell for enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is his daughter, Mindy Coryell Lewis, and presenter, Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinee, Dan Fouts.
At this time, they unveil the Don Coryell bust, and it is always one of the great moments, and it's an incredible thing and she kisses Don Coryell's face as she makes her way to the podium. It is incredible when you go to the Hall of Fame and see all of those busts. He is now in there. Here's Mindy Coryell Lewis.
Yeah? Okay. Wow. Thank you, Dan, for that amazing introduction and all that you've done that has led to this moment. Okay. I promise myself I will not cry. There are so many people who had an impact on my dad personally and professionally that it would be impossible to thank everybody. So I'll just say thank you now before I forget. The number one person I know he'd thank is his wife, Elisa, our mom, who was his most valued assistant coach and his Air Coryell co-pilot. This is the lady who would pin notes to my football-focused, absent-minded dad's underwear so he wouldn't forget his appointments on his recruiting trips. Can you imagine? He couldn't possibly miss his appointments if he had to get his underwear out of the suitcase and see his notes pinned to them. The hardest thing for me, my brother, and the rest of our family is to challenge what my dad would have said if he were here. So I'll do my best. Here's hoping I don't channel his lisp. What I'm sure of is that he'd be humbled, grateful, and maybe just a bit surprised that his legacy has lived on for all these years and is now forever recognized as being worthy of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Growing up, my dad was just my dad, or Pop. The stories that you might have heard about him being so focused on football that he'd forget that I was in the car driving me and the trash to San Diego State, go Aztecs, rather than dropping me off at the school bus stop and the trash at the bottom of our very, very long, steep driveway are all absolutely true. So certainly, I was aware of his focus on football, watching him constantly scribbling on his ever-present yellow legal pad, but never really knowing or even considering as a young person how his doodling would forever change the game of football. Lots of people tell me, especially his old ball players, I'm looking at, there's Dan, how my dad either invented or improved so many offensive concepts. But more importantly, that he was a player's coach and that the relationships he fostered were really the key to his success. I believe that he felt that not only the X's and O's were his work and passion, but also the lasting relationships that he built. I never get tired of those stories and everyone's impressions of him. Timmy, where are you? And Hank? One of my earliest memories is of little Mindy playing on the living room floor. And a very young, very big John Madden coming over for dinner. And as he walks through our front door, he envelops the entire door frame. And my memory, I think he actually had to stoop to walk in through our front door. Big John said in his enshrinement speech that he believes that after the last fans leave for the day and the lights have been turned off and all the doors locked, that the bus talk to each other. Can you imagine that? Don't you wish you could be in that room listening to Big John, Pop, and the other guys telling their stories? Oh my gosh. And the laughter. I want to personally congratulate and thank the Gold Jacket class of 2023, all you guys, and their families, Annie, for their support and friendship over the last 6 months. Lastly, our family would like to thank the Chargers and the selectors, and of course, the Pro Football Hall of Fame for this exceptional honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Coryell has landed in Canton. I broke my promise.
She did cry at the end. The emotional Mindy Coryell Lewis giving the speech there at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for
There's a list,
her
though,
father,
notable
Don Coryell. And, you know, it's not her fault, but she did not mention the Cardinals in there. And, you know, Howard Balzer tweets and covers the Arizona Cardinals and tweeted last night and this morning about the fact that the Cardinals really haven't made much mention of the fact that Coryell has gone into the Hall of Fame. And perhaps that is why it's no surprise that she mentioned the Chargers there and not the Cardinals. That's a shame, because the Arizona Cardinals should know that a big part of their history is here in St. Louis, and the fact that Don Coryell turned this town into a football town and turned that offense and pioneered what you see today. High-flying, vertical passing game. He did that. You can thank him for the Rams winning the Super Bowl in 1999, because Mike Martz patterned what he did after Eric Coryell. On and on it goes. It is a bit. You ask, what would the busts say to each other inside the Hall of Fame when the lights are turned off? When Don Coryell comes into that room, they will say, there is the greatest offensive coach in the history of the game. Here's another highlight from 1975. He started, remember, in 73 and actually didn't have a good year here. They were 4-9-1, same record as they had the previous year. But in 1974, they went 10-4, and Terry Metcalf doubled as kick returner and became the first Cardinal to gain over 2,000 all-purpose yards in a season.
Steve Jones is in to run with Metcalf. 3rd down and 8 at the 30 of Dallas. Back to throw is Hart. Sets and looks. Fires up and toward the end zone. Up high and caught for a touchdown by Terry Metcalf. A superior catch by Terry Metcalf in a crowd between Bell Renfro and Charlie Waters and Randy Hughes. And he made a tremendous catch. Almost an impossible grab for Terry Metcalf, and the Cardinals break on top.
That was against the Dallas Cowboys, and this team, this Cardinals team with Don Coryell at the helm, was tough on Tom Landry's Cowboys. They finished that 1974 year, as I mentioned, 10-4. The next year they went 11-3, and they repeated as NFC East champions. 2 games behind Dallas, 1 game behind Washington after losing to both of those teams in the first 4 weeks of the season. But they defeated both of those teams, won 9 of the final 10 to win the division, got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by the Los Angeles Rams. But that team in 74 and 75 was as good as you'll find in the league. Anybody who watched the league then would tell you. And Don Coryell got it going here in St. Louis, eventually to the Chargers, and eventually to Canton, Ohio as a Hall of Famer. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. Some racing. Scott McLaughlin is coming here. The IndyCar driver is next.
If power outages are putting a damper on your day, Reinhold Electric has your back. Their professional electrical services can handle emergency repairs, and they can offer backup generators to keep your home or business running smoothly no matter how severe the storms are. They understand the importance of uninterrupted power for commercial properties, storefronts, restaurants, retirement communities, and your home. Get a quote for a permanent solution or a quick connection box. 314-631-1158. 314-631-1158. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Some are items like garden hoses, pool toys, and lawn chairs are not recyclable and best donated to charity. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Glickert with the St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no surgery, and no hypnosis,
call my office now at 314-207-8600.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I really needed some help getting rid of those pandemic pounds, and St.
Louis weight loss secret has made it easy for me. I started losing weight right away and have lost 20 pounds in just 1 month eating real food, healthy food. I feel great. I'm going to keep going. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month, a half pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 314-207-8600, 314-207-8600, or online at moweightloss.com.
So I have a new client to tell you guys about, Doctors Birdie and Malhotra from Ophthalmology Associates. You've heard about them for years. Charlie Brennan, Tom Ackerman, Trish Gazelle, so many personalities have gone to see these doctors. I recently went myself. I have a very slight prescription, but I have something called narrow angle glaucoma in my family, so I have to be really careful about that. I had the best exam I've ever had from the most courteous professional people I've ever dealt with. Put aside all the puffery, put aside all of my salesmanship. These are the best eye doctors in town. They're so professional, so competent. Their staff are so friendly. Everything about them, whether it's a LASIK procedure or it's simply eyeglasses or sunglasses, whatever it is, these are the guys. 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000, or online at youridoc.com for Doctors Birdie and Malhotra at Ophthalmology Associates.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Coming up in St. Louis, the weekend of August 26th, it's the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. IndyCar will be coming back to Worldwide Technology Raceway, and in that field,
that turn 5 spot is a real handful for Grosjean. There's going to be a new race leader. His name is Scott McLaughlin. Scott McLaughlin wins at Barber Motorsports Park.
he is on a bit of a run of late. 6 straight top 8 finishes, tied for 5th place in the overall standings. He will be at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and he is with us now. He is Scott McLaughlin, IndyCar driver, on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Thank you for being with us, Scott. How are you?
No worries. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome to rainy St. Louis. This isn't ideal driving conditions. What the heck?
No, it's not great, and it's not going to be great if it rains like this for the Speedway in a couple of weeks. But no, look, super excited to get back here to St. Louis. It's always a favorite for me and on the calendar in terms of the racetrack. I really enjoy the track. Like the city. I've been to a couple of Cardinals games when I've been here. It's a lot of fun around this time of year, and really looking forward to getting back.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be on Sunday, August 27th, which is a 2:00 start at Worldwide Technology Raceway. I've been involved with Curtis Francois, the owner, and the general manager, Chris Blair, in a partnership for some time now, promoting events and emceeing events with regard to the track. We've had NASCAR there, but IndyCar's been there for quite a while and draws a terrific crowd as well. What do you think of the oval specifically and the tight turns 1 and 2?
Yeah, it's a difficult track. You know, when you have an oval that's not really the same on either side, it's difficult because you've got to set up and drive a little bit differently on both ends. You know, 3 and 4 is a very fast corner where it's basically flat out for us. Where 1 and 2 is you're braking and going down a couple of gears. So it is pretty interesting, but it's, you know, that's why we love short ovals, why we love Gateway, and you know, we'll be working the high line as soon as we can to make sure that we get plenty of passing done during the race.
It is going to be a lot of fun for sure. What brings you to town, by the way? What is your plan while you're here?
We're here just doing a little promotion before we get here in a few weeks. We race in Nashville this weekend, but you know, quick little stopover in St. Louis to promote the race and around the town and get it ready. You know, like I said, I've had some really good results here the last few years. I've had a 4th and a 3rd. So I'm really excited, hopefully, to jump a couple of steps and promote maybe a weekend where people can come watch me win.
Yeah, this is Scott McLaughlin, the New Zealand native, is with us on KMOX. The IndyCar driver will be here. Great young driver. In fact, he was the IndyCar Series Rookie of the Year in 2021 and had a breakthrough season last year with 3 IndyCar Series victories. This is a heck of a team, too. Team Penske has a lot of history. What is it like to drive for Team Penske?
It's incredible. You know, they got now 19 Indy 500 wins and many championships, especially in IndyCar. And, I've added to a few of those, except for the 500. I'd certainly like to do that. But, when you jump into a Penske car, you've got an opportunity to win every race. And, I'm thankful for that. But I'm just trying to also make the most of that opportunity. And, it's a special thing. But now with Roger also owning the series, you've got a reputation to uphold. You're one of his drivers. You promote yourself with the partners, for your fans, for everything, and for the sport itself. And we know that's a big investment for Roger and something we take on very seriously.
That is Scott McLaughlin visiting with me earlier this week. The New Zealander is on the pole for today's Music City Grand Prix in Nashville. Numero uno. He is one of the hottest drivers on the circuit right now. Scott McLaughlin at IndyCar will be here August 27th for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. This race in Nashville gets going in a little under an hour from now. Joseph Newgarden's going to try to win it. He lives in Nashville, so he's going to try to win his home race, the Music City Grand Prix. He just won last week or a couple of weeks ago at Iowa Speedway, and he won the Indianapolis 500. So Newgarden's having a great year. McLaughlin's going to try to knock him off today. We'll be back with more Sports on a Sunday Morning, sponsored by Gray Bar, after this.
When it's time to shop for your next pair of shoes, consider New Balance St. Louis. We have the largest selection of styles and sizes to help you find the perfect fit. See for yourself why New Balance is the most referred athletic brand by medical professionals. Our fit pros are extremely knowledgeable and take the time to understand your specific goals and activities. Customer service and selection makes all the difference when selecting a shoe store. Visit us in Creve Coeur, Richmond Heights, and Fairview Heights. New Balance St. Louis. Nationally known, locally owned.
If your home or business just isn't giving you the joy it once did, it's time for a refresh. Contact your local CertaPro painters and put the power of pro to work for you. That's CertaPro's power of doing the job right, on time and on budget. The power of proven experts with the skills to refresh, rejuvenate, and reinvigorate your home or business. Get your project started today at CertaPro.com. The power of pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Different real estate agents will sell your home for different amounts of money. This is Debbie Monterey. Don't be fooled into thinking that all realtors are created equally, because they are not. Different realtors will get you different results. So the agent you choose to sell your home matters. The experience your agent has, the marketing, the database of buyers, the systems and capabilities of your realtor, they all matter. Why? Because how much you sell your home for matters to you. That's why I recommend you call Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. According to MLS statistics, Gloria sells her listings for more money than the average agent, and she does it with less hassle. With 20 plus years of experience, our local real estate expert, Gloria Liu, knows how to get you the most money for your home guaranteed. Gloria also offers her sellers multiple selling options. So call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
The remarkable story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons is one of the top musicals in show business history. Now, experience the real Jersey Boys, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, live and in concert Thursday, August 10th at the Steeple Theater. Now on sale at Ticketmaster.com. From 111 Productions and Danny Zalisco presents.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We are Under Law, your St. Louis legal powerhouse. Auto accidents, work injuries, pharmaceutical litigations, we do it all.
Under Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 a.m. further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. Former Vice President Mike Pence on CBS's Face the Nation reiterates why he refused to overturn the electoral vote count on January 6th.
Frankly, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution that day, but I chose the Constitution, and I always will.
Trump has been arraigned on several charges related to trying to overturn the 2020 election. The latest CBS News poll shows what Trump's action looks like to the public.
Half the nation believes Donald Trump tried to stay in office beyond his term through illegal and unconstitutional means. Most Americans, and Democrats in particular, see the series of indictments against Donald Trump as defending democracy and upholding the rule of law.
Jennifer DePinto is CBS's Deputy Director of Elections and Surveys. The Justice Department has asked a federal judge overseeing the criminal case against former President Trump in Washington to step in after Trump posted what appeared to threaten anyone who goes after him. Attorney John Laurel on CBS responded.
We would agree that any sensitive or highly sensitive information be kept under wraps. In fact, we made that proposition to the Biden administration. They rejected it. They want every single piece of evidence in this case hidden from the American public.
On his social media platform, Trump wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." The U.S. just couldn't stop Sweden at the Women's World Cup. U.S. co-captain Lindsey Horan on Fox was disappointed, but...
First and foremost, I'm so proud of the team. A lot went into this performance.
The U.S. was eliminated 5-4. Sweden goes on to play Japan. Severe weather is on its way. Meteorologist Jackie Jarris is at the Weather Channel.
We'll be focusing in on the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee River Valley. The rain may be very heavy and come in rounds, which means flash flooding is going to be a good possibility.
Pope Francis has wrapped up his trip to Portugal with Mass at World Youth Day.
I think the Pope will be very pleased with the way his 5 days in Portugal have gone. He's clearly energized by being with young people, and he's repeatedly urged them not to be afraid. That was a theme in the Mass today. In a sense, he sees them, it seems, as a vehicle to help him reform the church, which he has said repeatedly is very much in need of change.
The BBC's Alison Roberts. Japan is marking a grim moment in history.
Hiroshima's peace bell marked the moment on August 6, 1945, when the city was obliterated in the world's first atomic bomb attack. Hiroshima Mayor Kazumi Matsui said the rising threat of nuclear weapons around the world underscores, in his words, the folly of nuclear deterrence. He reiterated calls for nuclear disarmament.
This is CBS News.
Hire with minimal effort and max speed with Indeed. Their hiring solution platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates efficiently. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11:03, we have cloudy skies and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story, forecasters say we have the potential for strong to severe storms in the bi-state later today.
The National Weather Service predicting a window of 3 this afternoon till about midnight for the heavy stuff to develop. KMOX AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on what punch they might pack.
Flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado.
For the St. Louis metro area, the Weather Service says storms are likely between 6 and 9 p.m. before heading south and east. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
18 major case squad detectives are working a murder case out of North St. Louis County. One person shot dead, another critically wounded last night in Wellston. The victims were found in the 6100 block of Page just before 9 p.m. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers 866-371-TIPS. It's a person's worst nightmare. You need help, call 911, and no one answers. It happened again in St. Louis last weekend. A family whose child was having a seizure downtown called 911 for 25 minutes, and no one answered. Now KMOX has obtained a St. Louis Police Department memo validating the critical shortages.
The memo reads in part, we have 3 dispatchers total, meaning each one will handle 3 districts plus a special communications channel on the Saturday afternoon watch, and there is no information dispatcher. Additionally, the officers are told if you have an emergency and cannot get on the air, use your emergency buttons and keep self-initiated activity to a minimum. Also, short-staffed on 911 call takers. So please, quote, refrain from calling communications unless it's an emergency, unquote. KMOX has reached out to the Public Information Office for comment. We're waiting to hear back. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Political strategists across the country are watching the 2024 presidential race develop, with Donald Trump clearly out front for the Republicans in polling. When asked what it might take for the former president to abandon his campaign, Democrat Michael Kelly told Total Information AM Sunday, likely nothing.
These indictments only seem to strengthen him with his base, but it continues to repel
independents and Republicans who are true Republicans and who were disgusted with him during the 4 years of his presidency.
Republican strategist John Hancock agreed on both points and predicted if things stay the same, Trump would lose to Biden next year. This afternoon, we are expecting severe storms later on. Could have damaging wind gusts, isolated tornadoes, flooding downpours, a high of 87. Overnight low around 72. Nice day tomorrow, high of only 78. And we're expecting 84 on Tuesday. Right now, it's 77 in St. Peters and in Florissant. We have 78 under cloudy skies downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
All right, thanks very much. We have Lutz Van and Steel on the schedule at 11:15. We have at 11:30 John Mozeliak. And we have Stewart, Cink, and Justin Leonard, who are going to be playing in St. Louis next month. And we also have, he's going to try to join us because he's on a plane right now, Hall of Famer Jackie Smith, to talk about his coach, Don Coryell, who went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame yesterday. Yes, I will continue to talk about Don Coryell and the greatness of St. Louis football in the 1970s that really was a golden era, because when you look at the 80s and the tough times, although there are some good teams in there, those Neil Lomax teams, but not good enough. And then to not have football after that, from 1987 being the final season until the Rams arrived in 1995. And then, of course, we celebrated a Super Bowl championship here in St. Louis and a return trip to the Super Bowl under Mike Martz's watch. None of that happens without Don Coryell. Don Coryell got it going in the 70s, and Mike Martz brought an incredible twist of fate, brought his offense back to St. Louis in a slightly different form, but not really. I mean, he patterned what he did, Mad Mike did after Don Coryell, and it's so much fun to listen to these. In fact, let's listen to this from 1975.
Sunday, November 16th. The Big Red met the Redskins at Busch Stadium, a sellout crowd. We pick up the action in the final minute of play, Washington leading 17-10. With the ball at the Washington 7, the Big Red tried to score on the ground. 3 plays failed. Forced the Cardinals into a 4th and goal with 27 seconds left. Hart went back to throw in what could have been the lost offensive play of the afternoon. Instead, it turned out to be the start of the biggest controversy of the season.
Ike Harris checks back in as Kane comes out. It is 4th down and the Cardinals' last chance to get on the board. To the right goes Mel Gray. To the left side comes Earl Thomas. At the Redskins 7, 4th down. Kane is tight on the right side. Hart goes back to throw and sets and fires up in. It is touchdown, Mel Gray.
They rule the pass incomplete. They rule that he dropped the ball. He had the ball in the end zone, and now all sorts of cane is going to be raised.
The officials huddled at the Redskin goal line to decide whether Gray had made the catch. Dan Kelly and Bob Starr describe the hectic scene.
Gray had the ball in the end zone, and now they break that huddle, and let's see what the signal is. It's a touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, Cardinals. They're 1 point away from tying it up.
Bakken booted the extra point, forced the game into sudden death. The Big Red won the toss, started from their own 25. Marched downfield to the Washington 20 as Jim Otis did most of the work running the football. The stage was set for Bakken's heroics. Both teams readied for Tom Brahaney's snap to Roger Whirley.
37 yards away from victory. The Cardinals mark it at the 27, a 37-yard try, almost in the middle of the field. Very slight angle right to left. Whirley ready to hold. All set, snap back, the ball down. Bakken's kick is one up and good.
The Cardinals win it on a 37-yard field goal by Jim Bakken.
The victory moved the Cardinals into sole possession of first place in the NFC East, 1 game ahead of both Washington and Dallas.
The great Jack Buck with the story there from 1975. That Cardinals team went 11-3, the Cardiac Cards and the St. Louis Cardinals with coach Don Coryell, who goes into the Hall of Fame. What a team. And remember, he turned that around very quickly. 1973 was his first year. They had a losing season. They were 4-9-1. He turned around and went 10-4 in 74. He went 11-3 in 75. He won 10 games again in 76. That 75 team won the NFC East title. There would not be a division title for the Cardinals again until 33 years later. That was long after they had moved to Arizona and to the NFC West. There were 9 Pro Bowlers on that 1975 team. Offensive linemen, you know them well, Dan Dierdorf, Conrad Dobler, Tom Banks was the center. That was really the anchor of the team. Jim Hannafin had that team playing at an extremely high level on the offensive line, pass protecting. The quarterback was Jim Hart. He was also a Pro Bowler. They had 3 running backs that were Pro Bowlers: Terry Metcalf, Jim Otis, and Mel Gray, who performed at a very high level as a wideout as well. But they were listed as running backs. But Gray, make no mistake, he was a wide receiver but could do multiple things for you. Gray, Metcalf, and Otis. And then they also had Jim Bakken was a Hall of Famer, as well as Roger Worley, who you heard holding there on that kick. Worley was a shutdown corner before Deion Sanders, before Darrelle Revis. Roger Worley was the original shutdown corner. That was an incredible football team that was coached by Don Coryell, and rightfully so. He gets in his enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame posthumously. We certainly have our hearts out to the family. We're thrilled for his players and for that Big Red team, Dan Dierdorf and all of his great teammates who join us from time to time on KMOX. And again, we may catch up. He's on a plane coming back from Ohio, but we're going to try to catch up with Jackie Smith before the show is over. That was a last-second decision on my part, and we're going to try to catch him in his travels. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back on Sports on a Sunday Morning, we'll talk more football. But this, the beautiful game of soccer, and Lutz Pfannenstiel, the sporting director of St. Louis City SC, will join us on KMOX.
Be the next legendary winner at Horseshoe St. Louis Casino. Enjoy thrilling action and bold bets from classic slot play and state-of-the-art video machines to all your favorite table games and high-limit action. Set along the Mississippi River in the heart of downtown, just a quick walk from the ballpark. Horseshoe St. Louis Casino, a Caesars Rewards destination. Legendary. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan, president of McKelvey Homes. Founded in 1898, McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with our inventory home sale. Get $12,500 off of all our market homes. Move in quick, lock in your interest rate, and get all the popular features and colors selected by design professionals. And for every home sold, McKelvey Homes will donate $1,898 to Dravet Syndrome Foundation. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The MSD Rate Commission represents the voice of the people in MSD's rate-setting process. The commission is hosting multiple public meetings this summer to gather your input on proposed rate increases for wastewater and stormwater services. To find the meeting closest to you, please visit msdprojectclear.org/rate commission or leave a message at 314-335-2028. Check the website regularly as meetings will be added throughout the summer. msdprojectclear.org/rate commission.
If you're thinking about doing a little home improvement, especially one that you don't have to do the installation, think about getting a Beam central vacuum system. It's the kind of home upgrade that really checks all the boxes, because when you compare and evaluate, a Beam system makes so much sense. There's a reason why nearly every high-end home in St. Louis is built with a Beam. A Beam vacuum system is very smart because it adds value to your home. Beam whole house vacuum system starts at just $11.99, including installation. And it's an investment, not just in your home, but in a healthy lifestyle. Every time you vacuum, you'll save time because a Beam is more efficient and 5 times stronger, so you'll clean better in less time. And since you're getting all the deep down dirt and grit vacuuming with a Beam, will keep your rugs and carpets looking brand new for many years to come. So you get value from your Beam system every day. Call Beam of St. Louis today, 314-567-1515 or online at beamstl.com.
Beam's home sale is starting early. Every system for every size home now on sale.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
It's 11:16 on KMOX's Sports on a Sunday morning, sponsored by Gray Bar, and we are joined by the sporting director, St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel, joins us every morning at 11:15. We appreciate it, Lutz. Thanks for being with us.
Nice to be on the line again.
It's always good to be with you. We're kind of reeling here a little bit. Soccer is definitely a topic of conversation in the United States today, but not for the best of reasons. The women's team is out of the World Cup. It is interesting, isn't it, how this sport has grown to the point where the United States has been bounced from the round of 16 for the first time ever, and the competition is catching up. That's one way to look at it. The other is that the U.S. didn't play all that well, but the competition is catching up, isn't it?
You know, I'm currently in Europe, I'm in Germany, and the German national team, very similar. One of the top teams in the world in recent years, or basically since ages, and they fell out in the group stage. So very, very shocking news here for the German football as well. And I think it's pretty similar in the States where, the American team is always the big favorites. They are always the team you're looking out for. So definitely a heartbreaking loss today against the Swedish team, which was, I would call it, lethal in the important moments.
No doubt about it. They have been tough on the U.S., and they get the job done, and they have advanced after a millimeter, really, was the call on that penalty kick. It goes to Sweden, and they advance in the Women's World Cup. The women's team has expanded the game here nationally. There's no doubt that more girls play growing up because of the success going way back to Mia Hamm's team, really, with the United States doing all that they were able to do and winning. How do you see the game just in general, men's and women's in the United States? Or let me ask it this way. What drew you to the United States, Lutz, with St. Louis City SC? Was that part of it? And also, how did you view American soccer before you came back over?
No, I mean, I was as a player everywhere. I also played in the States. So, I was based in the Canadian team with the Vancouver Whitecaps, but I played over here for a few years. So I knew the football well, and I always followed it. But to be fair, it was a tough decision for me, or I wouldn't say tough, a hard, long-thought decision to leave the German Bundesliga to join an MLS team. And I think the only MLS team I would have joined at that moment was St. Louis, because the project was special. It was a unique opportunity to build something from scratch. And looking at the way the league develops and will develop in the next, I would say, 2-3 years to come prior to the World Cup, I think it's the biggest growing soccer market in the world. You know, I mean, some people will say right now Saudi Arabia is challenging that, but I think that's a different kind of approach. I think it's exciting times at the moment with US soccer. I think the national team, both of them are having a big future ahead as well. So I think it's a very, very bright future ahead. People more and more enjoy the game. They love the game. You see it in the attendances. I mean, we are super lucky in St. Louis because it's somehow a pure soccer city where, of course, you're having plenty of world-class baseball, plenty of world-class ice hockey as well in the past. But I think has a great soccer culture from the past and from the present. So, that drawn me personally over here. And so far, to be fair, exactly now 3 years with St. Louis City SC. And I'm very, very happy about the choice I made.
Yeah, well, you've had a great run, and here's your team in first place. August 20th, you'll be taking on Austin at City Park in front of that great crowd. Ticket demand has been very high, and that has also created the mystique around the team. And then they win, which just adds to the excitement. What do you need to do between now and August 20th to get this team back to doing what it's been doing? And how does the team handle this off time? I know they've been practicing, but what is that like to not play those competitions for them?
Yeah, I think, it was obviously the League Cup, the results were a bit disappointing, but it also gave the players an opportunity to give a bit of a rest. So they had a few days off, which I think was really important. The guys who were not 100% fit or didn't get that much playing time, they kept on training, which was important, especially getting Klaus back on the field. Joachim Nielsen had his debut last week, scoring, and he showed that. He's definitely back. He will play again tonight against Real Monarchs with the second team, with City 2 in the MLS Next Pro. It's important now for us to focus. We had the transfer list is closed. We signed 2 new players with Torresen, and we also signed Markinich from Colorado, a left back. Plus, we sold one of our last foreign slot on the last day of closing on the list, which was for us a really lucky one because we already decided not to sign anybody anymore. We sold that place to Atlanta, and in January all the places getting back to normal. So it was for us the last minute good business deal in the end of the day, where we got some GAM which we can spend again next season for a place which would have been expired literally 6 hours after we sold it. And now it's focusing on Austin. We have good memories. Austin, the first ever MLS game, first victory. I think one of the moments which I will never forget, playing away to Austin there on the 25th of Feb. And we just want to do the same thing again. Now 23 games into the season, we're still on number 1. Nobody really believes that. And we just somehow want to now prove ourselves. There's 11 games to go, that we can keep it up, that we can keep on playing well, that we it was not just a one-hit wonder, and we know we want to be sharp, and that's what we're going to work for really hard. So we have a good week of practice ahead. We will have another friendly game planned, which is not 100% decided at where and how, and then another good week of practice, and then ready to host Austin. And as I said, I'm very positive that Klaus will be back in action. Not as a starter, maybe. We have to see how all that goes, but he's definitely back at 100% training, and that's good news because it's a big push for the morale of the whole squad.
Well, you definitely answered my Klaus question. It's not the same around here without City Park lit up, I can tell you that. So we're looking forward to Downtown West getting rocking again. This is Lutz Pfannenstiel, sporting director at City. You mentioned Anthony Markinich, the left back that you got from the Colorado Rapids. Tell me a little bit more about him. Is his style? First of all, he's a Midwest guy, which is pretty cool, from Bourbonnais, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. It's where the Bears trained for many years in the NFL. He went to Northern Illinois University. Markinich, what kind of a player is the 23-year-old left back?
Yeah, I mean, left-footed player, natural left-footed. Can play as a left back, also could play as a centre back, but I see him as a left back. A guy which actually, when we played last year in the Next Pro, he looked really good, and we do a lot with data. We do a lot of not just looking at what we see with our eyes. We also believe a lot in data, and Anthony just fits a lot to our playing style, to our philosophy. So it was again one of these transfers where lots of the fans out there who believe we should sign the next Messi 6 times a week. That's something which is not what we're looking for. Anthony was a guy we were looking for because he fits to what we want to do. And again, it's not a player which comes in and immediately will win us the title. That's not the point. We brought him in on a longer term. I see him with us in the next 2 years, and definitely, we need to heat up the competition a bit and on our left side. And I think that's a great way to get the natural left footer right in this position now.
Lutz, before we go, how did your latest television go and broadcasting? I know that you do mix in some of that still, if people aren't aware that you've been doing that for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, I was in Las Vegas last week for the Man United against the Borussia Dortmund game. Beautiful stadium, Las Vegas, not my most favorite place in the world, but okay. The game was good. I think you saw 2 world-class teams out there. Roman Bürki was there as well to meet his old teammates. So it was a nice broadcasting between the English Premier League and the German Bundesliga. Well, the German Bundesliga won, which made me even more happy.
Well, it's good. I'm glad that you come on with us, and I know that it takes a lot. So here you are in Germany, he said, as he's joining us here on KMOX. He's a dedicated man to not only us, but to St. Louis City SC and our soccer fans. He's Lutz Pfannenstiel, the sporting director. Thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks so much.
Great to have him. Looking forward to that August 20th match against Austin. That's going to be fun. I'll tell you someone else who is dedicated to the show. He's going to join us next, and that's John Mozeliak. I'm fully aware that he gets much criticism, but I received some very positive feedback about our interview with him last week, and it's not as much to do with me as it is with him. I thought he was very good at answering our direct questions and really helped us navigate what we were going to see, not only in the trade deadline, but all the rumors that were swirling around about Nolan Arenado. And he was able to sort all of that with us and be as honest and open as he can. Remember, sometimes he's not able to say some things publicly because other teams are listening, and sometimes you lose leverage. And there are some things that are said within the walls of Busch Stadium and the clubhouse that you can't let out and reveal. But I think he did a nice job of going as far as he could and telling us openly and honestly what was going on. So I appreciate that from Mo, and he's going to join us again in 3 minutes. This is Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX, sponsored by Gray Bar.
Weeknights at 6. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line.
Do welcome you in right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley.
Matt Pauley has everything sports, from what's happening with your Cardinals,
A lot of Cardinals baseball stuff, a lot to get into,
to the sports news of the day,
Let's talk a little St. Louis Blues hockey,
interviews and special guests.
the head coach of the St. Louis University women's basketball team.
It's all waiting for you with Matt Pauley.
It's all coming up.
The Gray Bar Sports Open Line, weeknights at 6 on KMOX. KMOX at your service weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. We got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff. Yeah.
Great. And we have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here it goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll absolutely guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight from the mine. We have cutters and hey, what the?
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationships with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Glickert with the St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 314-207-8600.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I really needed some help getting rid of those pandemic pounds, and St. Louis Weight Loss Secret has made it easy for me. I started losing weight right away and have lost 20 pounds in just 1 month eating real food, healthy food. I feel great. I'm going to keep going. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month, a half pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 314-207-8600, 314-207-8600, or online at moweightloss.com.
Get ready to celebrate KMOX Day at the Ballpark, returning to Busch Stadium Wednesday, August 30th. With a purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive KMOX Cardinals stein, celebrating the all-time great That's a Winner Jack McCall.
The winner, a World Series winner for the Cardinals.
Only fans that present their theme ticket at the distribution will be eligible to receive the item. Exchanges will not be available at distribution. KMOX Day at the Ballpark, Wednesday, August 30th. Get your tickets now.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
It's 11:31, and it's always a pleasure to be joined by John Mozeliak, Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, joins us each and every Sunday at this time. It's great to have you as always, Mo. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. I got a lot of great feedback on our interview last week, and I think a lot of it has to do with you, that you were very upfront, honest, answering all of our questions, and in what is certainly a busy time for you. I mean, the fact that you would take the time and join us right before the deadline is very much appreciated. So I appreciate that, and I want to pass that along.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and you're welcome.
Our fans definitely search for info. As you know, they are passionate about this team, and they want to know what's happening at the deadline. And I thought that you delivered exactly as you said you were going to go out to do. I mean, you went out and you looked for opportunities, and you ended up acquiring a lot of young talent. Tell us from your perspective how you thought the deadline went.
Well, I mean, I do think from a fan base standpoint, there might be some level of disappointment in the sense of we weren't able to secure that type of player that, you know, is really just a plug and play guy at the moment. We're going to have to require some patience. We certainly felt like we added a lot of talent into our system. When you look at kind of at the high end, when you have guys like McGreevy and Graceffo, Cink, Hence, there was that pretty big gap though from a talent standpoint after that, and so to get guys where you can inject to that, like Robert, obviously we have King here, and then getting Kaufenstein, Roby, all of a sudden we filled a pretty big gap with some guys that we're pretty excited about, that we think at some point will contribute to the Cardinals in 2024. But, you know, we know there's still work to be done for a rotation as we think about 2024.
Yeah, and as I explained to some folks that I thought that, you know, that's hard to do. It's hard to just go out and get major league starters from, and in fact, which contender is going to do that? I mean, if you're trying to, you know, with a contender, nobody's going to give you, oh yeah, here, have our number 3 starter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously would have required a regular or a everyday position player in that concept or to try to do it. But, you know, teams have a hard time filling voids during in-season trading deadline, whereas in the off season, you can trade from your club and then go fill something via free agency. So just the timing of this didn't work. We certainly did tease a few types of deals like that, but we never got to the point where either side was comfortable doing it.
So you open up now 3 spots in the rotation for next year with Michaelis and Matz under contract. And by the way, Matt's pitching like he's trying to earn one of those spots. He looked awesome yesterday again. But that'll make for an interesting offseason, just, you know, without obviously giving away what you're trying to do. But how do you view once we start that process in November?
Well, I think we're going to have to look at, you know, all viable options. So, you know, what that looks like in the trade market. Obviously, it would probably be a little bit easier to address just more in the free agent market because you're not subtracting. But I think we just have to remain open-minded. We know we have holes to fill, and you know, I don't think it's as daunting as people think. I mean, you're always going into the off season knowing that there's some areas where you're trying to improve, and you know, this year it's from a standpoint of simplicity, we know we have to add pitching, and it's just not rotational depth. It's also going to be in the bullpen. So I think as we get past the World Series and can open up that market, you know, that's something that we're going to have to be very aggressive in, and you know, hopefully we're able to fill those needs.
You mentioned some of those names that are in your system right now before you made all of these trades. I am curious your thoughts on Hudson, Liberator, and for that matter, Thompson, who starts today. Just your assessment of those three as they continue to develop, and in Hudson's case, come back.
Well, I think in all these guys' situations, they're pitching for the next 2 months to leave a mark. In other words, make an impression, a positive impression, because one of the things that you want to be careful of is trying to solve your problem just in these 2 months in terms of feeling where if guys perform well, that means we just don't have to do anything. I think the one thing that we have to take away from this past year and really just experience is just we need to add players that we can count on, and obviously seeing Matz do what he's doing, I think that's great. But some of these younger players that are going to go out and pitch over the next 2 months, it is important for them to show some success and to do well. But that's still not going to change our off-season approach at the moment. We know that we need to find some experience for our rotation and not solely rely on guys having great outings. But I will say, Dakota Hudson, it's encouraging to see how well he pitched the other day. So he's capable of doing it. Now he's got to show that he can replicate that and be consistent with it.
Mo, I did as much research as I could on the players that you acquired and looked at video and scanned stats and those kind of things. And you mentioned one that jumps out to me, and I saw on a video he pronounced his name Robertsa, so I'm going to go with that from my end. But Sem Robertsa looks the part to me. I mean, I know I'm limited on what I have access to, but he looks like a starter to me. He throws a number of different pitches for strikes, which is a huge key.
So I think the big thing for him is you got to remind yourself he's 21. He got promoted to AAA. Did not have a great outing last night, but heard he had a little bad luck too. But has plenty of arm. We do think he has some swing and miss in him. And so, obviously the next 2 months are going to be important for him to get settled. Obviously new organization. We're going to try to give him some space, but we're certainly excited about what we have in him, especially given his age and really the type of arm strength he has.
And the other one that jumped out, and they all looked good. I had kind of limited on what I got to see on Roby, but that's Thomas Sajasi was interesting to me. I mean, he looked like an aggressive bat. The ball kind of jumps off his bat. He's an infielder, but can play multiple positions, can he?
He can. Definitely see him mostly as a second baseman, but offensive upside for real. So when we were approaching the deadline, we kept saying pitching, but this was just too good to walk away from as far as like his offensive projection. So it wouldn't shock me to see him end up at AAA at some point this year. And then again at 21, doing what he's doing is impressive.
Certainly. And finally, just looking over this current lineup, and Oli Marmol keeps putting out lineups with a lot of firepower. Gorman and Walker and their progression, and then I'm going to ask you about Mason Wynn. But Gorman and Walker showing you what they can do at the plate has been incredibly impressive, I would think.
Well, I think in Nolan Gorman's case, I don't think any of us are really surprised. We always knew he had a lot of power in that bat. I think the big thing for him is making adjustments at the plate, trying to control the strike zone a little bit. But, seeing what he's doing with the bat is not overly surprising to some of us. And I think from a defensive standpoint, he's really getting more comfortable at second base. And that's great to see. And then you touched on Jordan Walker, who obviously has tremendous upside. I mean, here we're talking about guys that are in AA and AAA at 21. He's in the big leagues at 21, holding his own offensively. Obviously, there's been some growing pains defensively, but he's working on that, and he's going to continue to work on that. And I still think he has a chance to be an average or above average outfielder when it's all said and done. So you have to have a little bit of patience when you have a 21-year-old at the big leagues, but certainly impressed with what he's been doing so far.
It is a good thing to remind ourselves of his age. And finally, and I know, granted, the World Baseball Classic was taking place, so this guy got a lot of playing time, but I don't think anybody would argue that Mason Wynn wasn't one of the best players on the field in spring training. I mean, he is an exceptional talent. What is the outlook for him right now from your perspective?
Well, I think the good thing is he's now having success at AAA. If we were to turn back the clock 2 months ago, offensively he was really fighting himself. I think from a defensive standpoint, the reports we were getting was that he was aggressive, but there were mistakes being made. But like to your point, what we saw this past spring, this guy has an enormous talent, so enormous upside. I think the biggest thing for him is when we decide, or if we decide to bring him up to the big leagues, he's got to play. And we're trying to sort through some things right now because a lot of our decisions that we make for 2024 are going to be based on a lot of things we see over the next couple months. But I'm thrilled and really excited to see how well he's starting to put things together, both offensively and defensively down in Memphis. And the reports I'm getting back from Ben Johnson and others, it's very encouraging, and that's nice to see.
Player of the month in July, Mason Wynn. John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations. Always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
That sounds good. See you, Mike.
See you soon. There he is on Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX. The Cardinals take on the Rockies today at 1:15. Joe Pott has your pregame at 12:20. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with much more, including a huge event coming to St. Louis in September, one after the other. We have IndyCar coming, and some of the best golfers this game has ever seen will be strolling Norwood Hills Country Club. Two of them next, Stewart, Cink, and Justin Leonard on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Manchester Coin and Jewelry is the estate buyers. From fine jewelry to costume jewelry, watches, working or not, on Manchester Road west of 141. It's Manchester Coin and Jewelry, the estate buyers.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's match in Leagues Cup play against Club America. Presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. Creating new pathways and careers in healthcare.
Martin able to get it outside. Parker and Co racing back. It's fed to Quinones in the spot. Quick header, and it's just a little wide. Pompeu into the box now. Right foot. Oh, another save by Malagone. Diving effort. Smacked out towards Straub, but he could not get to the ball before it's cleared by Club America. Club America gets a steal. Alvarez was the intended recipient, but the ball slips back. He gets banged home by Zendejas. And that will make it 4-0. Club America. Club America 4, St. Louis City SC 0.
This has been 90 and 60, presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. St. Louis City returns to the pitch August 20th when they face Austin. Together Credit Union pregame at 8, kick at 8:30 on Y98 St. Louis.
Aspiring to be a doctor? Didn't score well in the MCAT? Gain all the confidence you need to succeed at Ponce Health Sciences University. PHSU west of City Park on the corner of Jefferson and Market prepares students for every aspect of a medical career. A Master of Sciences in Medical Science degree. An MSMS from Ponce prepares students for the coursework, the time commitment, and the rigor for a future in healthcare. Learn more at stlouis.psm.edu. That's stlouis.psm.edu.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring. They are looking for residential garage door technicians and installers at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Join the team trusted here since 1926. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. They'll train motivated applicants to repair and install garage doors. There's a hiring bonus as well, up to $4,000, benefits too. Earn as you learn. Apply today, overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. When you use the rideshare service, you're putting your life in the hands of a stranger to get you safely where you need to go. But sometimes tragedies occur. And when they do, big companies like Uber and Lyft are often impossible to deal with on your own. We know how to hold these companies accountable. When you've been involved in a car crash or been a victim of assault, we're here to protect you.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. Good visit there with John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations. You can go back and listen to it on our Odyssey app. Just click on 1130, or you can wait till our producer Drew Young puts that podcast up on our Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast page. We've had a good show so far with Oli Marmol on the show. We also had a tribute to Don Coryell. We listened to Scott McLaughlin, IndyCar driver, visiting with me. He'll be on the pole today in Nashville. They're just starting right now, actually, in Nashville at the Grand Prix down there, the Music City Grand Prix. We also have Lutz Vandensteel joined us for a good period of time from Germany. And they all come on the show, Sports on a Sunday Morning. It is fun in that way. Here are some other big names. Coming to Norwood Hills Country Club is the Ascension Charity Classic. It is happening September 8th through the 10th at Norwood Hills. The Ascension Charity Classic, the proceeds go back to St. Louis, specifically North County, but areas of St. Louis, to a number of charities to help benefit the youth and those who need it here in the St. Louis area. And they've continued to do that over the last few years. This is year number 3 of the tournament, but it's really year 4 because the first year was knocked out due to COVID, and they still raised hundreds of thousands of dollars and presented $1 million check after year 1. Stewart Cink is going to be in the event this year. He just turned 50. So Cink, and I mean just turned 50, May 21st. So once he did, he was then eligible to play on PGA Tour Champions events. And he has played on the PGA Tour. He has played on the European Tour. He's played on the Nike Tour. He's played on the Korn Ferry Tour. And now he is playing PGA Tour Champions, and he was asked how that has been so far.
All I can tell you is that Steve Stricker is a huge buzzkill when you show up at a tournament. I know that comes as no surprise. He's definitely the mark out there. The 2 tournaments I've played, I've yet to play a 3-round tournament. So I've played 2 majors, pretty significant golf courses. And I think Stricker has shown to be the guy when the big courses are in play. And I've played a lot with Steve over the years. He's playing the same kind of golf he played when he was at the top of the game on the regular tour as well. So he is definitely a mark to be aiming for and learning from. And it's just great to have a guy like him to provide excellence to play against and try to match yourself up against. Because if you can beat a guy like Steve Stricker, you've done a really good job. And I've played in 2 events, and I've played with Steve on Sunday, both events in the last group, and Steve Stricker has won both of those. So it's an honor to play with him and against him, and I've had fun playing in my 2 events.
Stewart Cink, he will be at the PGA Tour Champions event, the Ascension Charity Classic, as Steve Stricker, I would think, would be the favorite in this event, as he has been on fire recently. But Cink will be right there among the favorites. He's finished 3rd in 3 different majors, the Masters, the PGA Championship, and the U.S. Open, and he won the Open Championship in 2009.
I've given it a lot of thought, and I've unfortunately come up with no answers and no way to reconcile a way of thinking. I'm the only thing I can really solidify and say is that I feel very blessed to be able to choose whichever tour I want to play on next year. And I've had a lot of players say that you don't want to do both. You don't really want to focus on just kind of like mixing it up. You want to try to put your eggs in one basket, so to speak. I don't know if I want to do that just because I just enjoy both. I like playing in the grind of the PGA Tour and the cuts and playing against the world's best. And I also enjoy seeing all my friends that I've known for a long time and competing in a different way on PGA Tour Champions. So it's just hard to say. I don't really want to commit one way and then do the other. I'm in a good spot. When I turned 50, there was a few spots on the calendar that certainly popped out. And I talked to Padre, who was your defending champion from last year. Actually, I guess he's going to play in the Irish Open. So that means he's your champion from last year, not defending, which is unfortunate, but sort of the way it goes in professional golf. But he had good things to say about the event and the company too. So a lot of things have changed in the last day or so, as you guys may know, about the PGA's announcement yesterday about the vice captaincy. But definitely proud to be representative of Ascension and hope to reflect the company image well.
That's Stewart Cink. And then there's Justin Leonard, who played in his first Ascension Charity Classic last year because he turned 50 last summer. He's now 51, and the Dallas, Texas native who has had a lot of success. He has won the Open Championship as well. He's had top 10 finishes in the Masters, the PGA Championship, and finished second, actually, in the PGA Championship twice. Here he is on the upcoming event at Norwood.
To be invited to your tournament and to be a representative of Ascension. Last year, the tournament was, Ascension was my second event, I guess. And I played in the tournament at Firestone, so it was on familiar grounds there. And then St. Louis was my second event there in early September. I wouldn't say my game was ready. I was covering the FedEx Cup playoffs for 3 weeks. I think I touched the club for one day in those 3 weeks. Came back, tried to get ready in, basically a week and come play. Love the golf course. Norwood Hills is a great test. And it was really fun to see how St. Louis really, really turned out for the event. I have noticed how I thought it was special at the time, but then, playing a fuller schedule in the Champions Tour this year helps me realize just how special it is what you do there in St. Louis and the way, the people of St. Louis and the surrounding areas come out and support the event, the job that you and your staff does and the build out. There's so many, a typical event, there might be, certainly 18, there's a lot of corporate stuff going on, maybe one other hole, usually around 17. And it seems like at the Ascension, there's multiple areas where people can congregate, whether it's from, grandstands and bleachers or corporate hospitality, or you've got the food area down there. A funny story. I was playing with Harrison Frazier. He and I were teammates at University of Texas, and Texas was playing Alabama on that Saturday. We were paired together Saturday, and Harrison's wife was following us around, and she was watching, but she was listening to the game, and so we were getting updates from her. And so we had a little bit of a wait on the 14th hole, and that's right next to the big food area, and there's a big jumbo screen TV over there, and we could actually see through the people and watch some of the games. So I was trying to call an injury timeout. It's right at the end of the football game, trying to call a little injury timeout so we could watch the last couple of minutes. It didn't work out to where we could watch the game, and it didn't work out for Texas anyways. Alabama kicked a field goal in the last few seconds, but just a great atmosphere and a lot of fun to be a part of it. I feel like my game is going to be way more ready come this September than I was last year, and just excited to be a part of it.
Big Texas fan there, Justin Leonard, on the Alabama-Texas game. I remember that happening as well on that Saturday. College football Saturday when they play. It'll be September 9th for the Ascension Charity Classic, and it'll be great to have Justin Leonard back in town. Our top stories today: the United States women's national team is out of the World Cup. The U.S. played its best game of the World Cup, I would say, but it still didn't play well enough. You got to score to win, and it just wasn't good enough. The two-time reigning champions eliminated in the round of 16 for the first time ever. They were trying to win an unprecedented third consecutive title, but Megan Rapinoe, Sophia Smith, Kelly O'Hara all missed with kicks from the spot. Rapinoe's went way over the crossbar, and then Lena Hurtig converted for Sweden. It was first ruled a save, and then they were, oh, wait a minute, we need to look at this replay, and it barely snuck over the line. I mean by a millimeter, and Sweden is in. They clinched the shootout 5-4 after a scoreless draw in regulation and extra time, earliest exit in tournament history for the United States. They've won the World Cup 4 times, and now they're going to have to sit there and watch other nations try to win, and Megan Rapinoe's out. 38-year-old said this would be her last international tournament, so she has been outspoken in her life and career, and she missed her penalty. I saw in her interview session afterwards, she said, it's dark comedy that I missed my penalty shot. She's one of the great scorers in U.S. soccer history. Here's one other to pay attention to with a St. Louis connection, and that would be Simone Biles. Simone Biles, this won't get as big a headlines, but it should, as you keep an eye on her. She could well be the greatest gymnast in the history of the sport. She is back, at least for right now. In Chicago, Hoffman Estates, she followed a 2-year layoff by easily winning the U.S. Classic. She was 5 points ahead of Leanne Wong for second. It was a packed house. They were all over everything that she did, supporting her. And Simone Biles, who is married to Jonathan Owens, who currently is a safety for the Packers. He grew up here in St. Louis, went to Loyola Academy for middle school, then went to CBC, and then went on to college at Missouri Western. He is married to Simone Biles, and they are going to be watching her fighting through what, remember, a couple of years ago was a mental block, really, that she cited that she had that forced her to remove herself from competitions in the Olympics. Well, she showed no signs of that. I watched the video of her yesterday. She looked fantastic. So next up is the U.S. Championships in San Jose, and that's later this month. So it is worth watching for sure to see if Simone Biles can bounce back. We'll see if the Cardinals can win a series today. Zach Thompson is the starting pitcher for St. Louis, and we have that broadcast coming your way at 1:15 with the 12:20 pregame. Joe Pott will have that, and that's coming up after the noon news from Busch Stadium. In the meantime, it's the Cardinals and the Rockies with a look back at Oli Marmol, John Mozeliak, both of them. You can hear our longer conversations right here on this show. If you go back to the Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast, I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to producer Drew Young on KMOX.
Hi, Ken Newbold for Newbold Toyota. 2023 is our 50th year of being a Toyota dealer, so come see us. We're on Highway 64 in O'Fallon, Illinois, or check us online at newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Amy Mark Scores here, and if you need a bathroom remodel, you need to call Michael's Baths. Michael's Baths understands that you want your bathroom to be functional and affordable as well as beautiful. They make the process of updating your bathroom easy. They begin with a free, no-obligation consultation to discuss your goals, and they offer a free quote. And because they work directly with manufacturers, their prices are 30 to 50% lower than their competitors. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com.
We don't want you on our team. You're too slow and fat.
This is weight bias.
Don't you care how you look?
Those with the serious disease called obesity face weight bias every day.
You're not the right fit for this job.
And blame themselves.
I wish I was different.
Weight bias hurts.
Let's stop weight bias. Be part of the solution.
Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
Teammates thought future